What's going on, guys? Welcome back to RC Everyday. So, we've got some work ahead of us here. So our new friends at CENracing sent us a lot of accessories for the F450. And it's far beyond what I imagined. I've never really looked at their aftermarket stuff for this. They have this whole line of KAOS advanced tuning parts. And it sounds like race car stuff, but it's beautiful. Beautifully machined billet everything. So I was very surprised by what we've got here. So yeah, got my old F450. Only concern I have right now is this has that air ride on it. I've done several videos on that recently, and I'll put a link above here for the install video. Those air ride kits are no longer available, and I'm not sure if it's all going to jive with the air suspension. It's made for a stock truck, obviously. We've got these nice thick machined arms to, yeah, basically, and the 4-link conversion kits for all that. But we'll go over all the parts as we do them. This is going to be a multi-part series. I can't do all this in one sitting. It's a lot of work. We're basically rebuilding on the entire truck with all the aluminum we can get. So, yeah, I think this video we're going to focus on the rear axle. I'm going to do one axle at a time because there are some different things from front to back. One piece I have their lightweight hard anodized aluminum locker. I do have 2 of those, but I think I'm only going to install one in the rear. This truck is kind of a pavement princess, so we don't really need it locked. But I have seen at USTE last year, my buddy Muck Boots Mike, you see him coming up in an issue of RC Car Action magazine with his blue Jeep, that he has an F450 and he's taken the sway bars off, locked the axles, and it's a decent crawler even with the stock tire and wheel setup. So I think I'm just going to elect to lock the rear, so we'll put that in the bed today. We've got these nice looking aluminum diff covers. I'll put the part numbers in the description for each video of what we work on and everything, because yeah, me reading it to you, you probably won't understand it, but nice machined front black finish on the rest of it. Comes with some new hardware. Also for the rear, we've got some new, I'll see if I can separate these. We've got some aluminum, CNC aluminum wheel hexes. Why not? These are a neat design, actually. I might get some more of these for some of my other vehicles. It's hard to find aluminum ones. I bought some of those on eBay the other day, and they were 3D printed. I didn't say that in the description. I was kind of disappointed. So what else do we got? We've got the rear 3-link set up, and then we have the 4-link conversion to go with it. So I think we're going to do that this video as well. Also, the CNC aluminum straight axle adapters for the rear axle. Those are like your SEX axles used to have the end pieces that interchanged, and one allowed you to bolt on your steering, and one was for the rear. So they've made some aluminum versions of that as well. And lots and lots of good stuff here. These front aluminum lower front panhard mounts. You only need one of those. Well, I don't know if we need that if we do the 4-link. I got a lot to learn. We have front or rear aluminum sway bar, the entire setup, aluminum arms, beautifully finished, ball bearings, just insane stuff here, man. These are 4-link brackets. I need those for the rear. Nice finish on this stuff, man. I'm pumped. Aluminum 3rd-link mount, silver anodized. We may need that as well with the panhard. And we have the same setup and everything for the front. We'll go through and do that separately. Plus, we've got some other stuff. Chassis rail holding blocks. So these chassis are adjustable in length, and the pieces that lock it in, it actually is that. Plus a whole bunch more. So yeah, we got to get this thing opened up and take a look at it. All right, so the first step, get our tires and wheels off. I already had the polished spike lug nuts on here. I cheated. Used the drill, take them off. I do not recommend putting them on with this. Be sure to tighten them by hand, because this piece here, the wheel adapter, is plastic. So yeah, you really don't want to mess up your mounts, and then you start getting wobbly wheels and everything falls apart. But another thing, once we get there, we'll talk about it more. We have the new black spiked lug nuts, and again, they're really nice. I mean, these are, you can see this one easier probably. This super nice quality. I was really surprised when I bought those. It's been a year or so since I got these on here. and a little case, and it comes with a tool to put them on. So first thing, we're going to pull our wheel adapters off. Just your standard wheel nut, and that piece comes off, and underneath that is the 12mm hex, which we will remove that and the pin so we can get to the ends of the axle. Alright, so the first thing, there is a nut holding on the sway bar link. I'll just hold that with my pliers. Back that out. And while we're working on it, I'm just going to put the nut back on so I know right where it goes. We'll let the sway bar drop down out of the way. Then we won't lose anything. There we go. And I am cheating again with the drill because I got a lot of work to do. And but again, stuff like this, you're threading in the plastic. When you put it back together, just be very careful with it. Now this piece we are replacing with metal, but not quite yet because I think we're going to have to go ahead and do the locker while we got access to the axle shafts. And pull this off. Inside of there is a ball bearing. I'm just going to put this in here and lightly tap it out. We'll hang on to that to reuse in a little bit. Alright, so next up, we're going to move the plastic diff cover. I've got something wedged under there to keep my axle up. Since this is air suspension, it won't stay up. On your stock truck, it'll be up a little bit higher and easier to get to. Lucky you. Now there are some differences on this chassis that I've made, just some spacers here and there, move the shock locations and things like that. But it should not affect most of what we're doing here. Except I got the wrong size bit. Luckily, my nice Bauhaus tool, they lock into your driver and make this very, very much easier. All that aside, we're going to have some extra hardware when this is all said and done, because this comes with new shiny bolts. Now would be a great time also to grease your gears while you're in there. Alright, I had to pop it loose with a blade. Oh, they're good and greased already, so we ain't gonna have to worry about that. So, we're gonna go ahead and pull the axle shafts out, and the diff should just come right out. Oh yeah, wow. That's a pretty scale unit. Spider gears and everything. Nice. Alright, so we've got the differential gear out. Remember, the order it all kind of came out, they do have a shim in there, like a real axle. You have to shim your gears to get the mesh right. So we've got 4 screws here we're going to pull out. And again, I'm cheating with the drill, but probably going to get them started with this and then we'll snug them up by hand. Don't want to mess any of these up. Alright, so we don't need any of this stuff anymore. Need the bearing off the other side, and we got grease all over it. So the part we're putting in first is the CKQ 0218 lightweight hard anodized aluminum locker. Get that mess off my fingers here. So this has some alignment pins. Yep, pretty much only goes one way. This bearing is on here very tight. And the best thing I've found is just walking it off a little bit around the edges. There we go. No shims on this side. All the shims were on the driver's side, if I remember correct. So now we throw this mess over here out of the way. Probably the trickiest thing we're going to have to install is, just like a real car, you got to keep your shims in the right spot, in place, while you get it in, get the shaft fed into it, and it is not wanting to stay where I want it. There we go. The shaft's back into it. Nice. Now our axle is locked. Since most of the grease that was on this was on the planetary gear setup, we do need to re-grease it again. I use this stuff on all my RC. Super white lithium grease. Got it at the local O'Reilly's. Had it for years. It's been fantastic on my all my cars, touring cars, crawlers, doesn't matter. Just going to start pumping it in there and spinning things around. Well, maybe a little bit heavy on it, just because. That ought to be good enough. Alright, next part on the list is differential cover, CNC black anodized. It is CKD0351 and it's pretty. Comes with its own new screws, so make sure you get it oriented right, because we are putting this together upside down. And it should slide on just like the stock one. Got a little bit of grease coming out there, so go ahead and wipe that off now. Just a little bit snug. Alright, next up we have the aluminum straight axle adapters, CKQ0303. These are marked left and right, and this is where we put our bearing back in that we took out of the plastic one. Just goes right in nice and easy. Your side that's labeled goes up, the side that clamps goes down, which we're doing it upside down, so just kind of aligns with the axle housing. You gotta wiggle the shaft and boom. Got plenty of clearance. It does come with a new screw for the clamping side, which I'm going to put on by hand because we're threading into aluminum. Look, I always got an excuse not to use the gun, but that stuff, it's just a little tedious. I don't want to risk damaging any of the aluminum stuff. I already did the other side, and it does clamp quite a bit, all things considered, being aluminum. So just going to crank it down about the same as the other side so it doesn't move, and we're good. And then after that, we've just got the reconnect the sway bar link, which mounts on the other end of that. So we'll take that nut off. I was going to originally do this video every piece one at a time, but so much of it, like this whole rear axle stuff, it's all easier to do while you're here and not have to take things apart 3 and 4 times to make it happen. So just figured to do it like this. You don't have to do all the stuff at once. You can do whatever you got. If you just got the cover or the locker. Perfect. Alright, so now that's all done. I'm going to wait on the hexes and pins until we do some of the other mounts in here. So let me see what's next. Alright, so the next section getting tricky. So realistically, it probably would have been better to take the entire axle off to do all of this. It would have been easier to show you for sure. But we're already committed with this, so it may change the way we do the front end. We've got all of our mounts for our suspension. So we have aluminum panhard upper mount, which is a CKD0301. That's this piece. Mounts on the back of the axle here and goes down to our panhard bar. Then we have our aluminum 4-link brackets, A and B. They are side specific. CKQ0304. That's here and here. Those actually share the same bolt on this side as the panhard mount. Then we have our 3rd link, and on top of that we're actually making this a 4-link with the panhard because we have the link sets and everything. So you can do just the 3-link and get the nice beautiful arms, and then they make a 4-link piece and mount and hardware and everything to make it an actual 4-link, so it looks nice and pretty underneath, which, you know, we have to do. So I'm going to go ahead and pull all the links off, I think, and we're going to just have the axle kind of loose where we can, hopefully I can show you a little bit better how this all goes. Well, that escalated. It was easier just to take the axle out at this point. Everything just kind of came apart. So we've got that's our 4-link brackets, mount like that. Our 3-link, our panhard mount actually has a screw in the top, so taking it off was actually necessary to separate these 2 pieces. Oh, well, there we go. We'll leave that there so we know where it went for now. And then this is the panhard mount on the back. Just kind of get everything laid out. The screws were all different sizes, so that mounts on the back right there. Then we have our CKQ0304 aluminum 4-link A and B. So they are side specific. B is driver side. And that lines up and jives nice. So now I'm going to take that screw that we left in here and pull that out. Alright, so those two pieces didn't like being together to start with, so we're going to do that one first, and then we will try to put this on the right way. There we go. Alright. That lined up. I'm going to do some of these by hand because I don't trust the gun at the moment. Not threading into fine machined parts. I don't want to play that game. And then we'll put the little screw in the top at the end just to reinforce it all together. Now, we'll put our little screw in the top, bring it all together. There we go. The other side will be a lot easier. Nice and snug. Has the slightly shorter screws, no panhard mount. Go ahead and put those through. Get this thing on. Almost feel like I need to have gloves on touching this stuff. It's so pretty. I'm going to get fingerprints all over it. So next, that leaves us the panhard mount, which goes on this, or the third link mount. Yeah. And that goes through these holes. We'll come back and do the 4-link mount once we get to the kit with that in there. So right now, this is all it shows. Some of this stuff reuses the factory hardware. Some of it comes with new hardware. And I was excited to see the 4-link kit actually has instructions. So something a lot of brands forget these days. They just expect you to figure it out. Not everybody can figure it out right out of the gate. Maybe somebody's first RC. Alright. Alright guys, so we're jumping ahead a little bit. I've not opened the 3-link bar kit yet, but I got the 4th link kit out. This is CKD0377. Rear 4th suspension link set. Upper right. 117mm CNC aluminum link mount. Black silver anodized. And it is pretty. But this is the piece we need for right now. This is the opposite side to make it a 4-link. It goes right on just like the other one did. And it goes on through these existing holes in the mounts. It really feels like they designed this truck around the aftermarket stuff because it's all very well thought out. Very well planned. There's no hacking involved. It all bolts directly to it, just like the real car. Yeah, we should be done with the axle now. Now we get to follow the instructions, which they have provided here. And it does show use some Loctite on the eyelets and the rod ends to put that into the billet piece. We got to first snap the balls in the ball ends. And I don't know where my big pliers are. That would make it a little bit easier. Come on. Wish I hadn't taken my vise off the table. There we go. It is nice it has metal ball ends instead of plastic ones like the stock links have. With a little upgrade. And they do move very, very smooth in there once you get them in. Nope. I need my bigger pliers. There it is. Lots of movement. So now we get our little 1.5. It goes together just like all your crawler 4-links and things like that. 5.5-ish. Oh, I'm off. Well, that end of my caliper is a little damaged. I need to go about 2 more turns on that. Close enough. This one about the same, about 3 turns. Yep, pretty close. Alright. So one thing I didn't notice that is extra nice, these are recessed into the ends. So you won't see anything but the eyelet of the rod end, which is pretty cool. It says Loctite it, so we'll use my nasty old Loctite here. We can keep it from dripping everywhere. Likes to explode and leave stringy stuff everywhere. Good old Tamiya stuff. So I guess there's no I mean, you could adjust it. You could throw some spacers in there. Oh, it worked out pretty perfect there. Nice. If you needed these to be longer lengths or anything. And they are side specific. This side has the machined edges. This side does not. Why I have the pretty side face in. That feels pretty good. Alright, so now we should be ready to get the 4-link kit out. Do the same thing 3 more times and bolt it all back on the truck. Alright guys, I'm going to say it, that's a good looking rear end. This stuff is just beautiful stuff. So, next step, everything's done on the axle. I also wanted to say, you scale guys know, save these things. These little foam things that make good seat cushions or armrest or whatever on your scale custom build. So yeah, it's always nice to have those laying around. So I'm going to go ahead and do the upper links first, get those squared away, and then we can sort out the shock situation, and then we'll be able to see where everything aligns to line up the panhard. And again, another thing's different. This one I've got some longer hardware and space these out because it does set lower. So I needed to move the panhard out of the way so the axle didn't hit it. So if you're looking at that wondering where your spacers went, you didn't have any, just this one. So I already see the uppers are going to hit. So we may be taking the air right off of this truck anyway, so might recycle it onto another vehicle in the future. But that'll be a story for another time. It is hitting one of my air lines too, so I'm going to have to do some finagling around with my air stuff real quick. Alright guys, more progress, more changes. Go ahead and take the air right off. It'll work with this, but it's not really, you want to see all this stuff. So I think a lift kit and stuff is going to be more in line, but I do have my stock shocks. We'll throw those back on. And yeah, no biggie there, but I found more parts that I had that we might as well do while we're here. So we have CKD 0403. These are chassis aluminum, CNC aluminum chassis rail holding block. So these chassis are adjustable, front and rear, and there's these little plastic blocks in here that hold it all together. And we have billet ones. Also, the panhard mount. We have that for front and rear as well. Silver anodized. This is a CKD 0302. So, I mean, while the axle's here, up and out of the way, there's no better time to get to that stuff. Panhard mount, pretty easy. You got 3 bolts, 2 on the side, 1 on the top. Pull the whole panhard bracket and arm out, and we'll be able to get to the screw to remove the arm itself. And it looks like that is actually adjustable as well, depending on where you want your axle to sit. There's a lot of versatility in this chassis. So, I think the future for different bodies and things is definitely there, and the aftermarket parts are definitely there for this. You see, I keep switching back tools. Got this little set from Tony CCXRC, my bad. It's a nice little travel set. It came with some nut drivers and stuff, and then I had my Bauhaus tool, my big orange one, and those are the ones that snap into the drill, and they're nice, like nitrite coated or something, and they don't strip very easily at all. So those are the ones I've been using for the gun use. Alright, so we got more adjustability in this. We got 3 different holes. This one is in the lowest setting, which I may have moved, if I remember right, for the air suspension. So I think I'm going to go ahead and pull these spacers off of here too. A little bit of backtracking. Sorry guys, I know this was supposed to be just a hop-up video, but everything always snowballs. Alright, now put this thing back on. And we'll wait till a little later in the process to sort out our panhard situation, which hole it's going to mount on up there. It all depends on the height of the axle, where that needs to be to keep it centered. So now that we're lifting it back up to at least stock height, for now we will probably have to make some adjustments. And that rattle, that's how you know it's working. Alright, this piece is very easy. I already did the other side. Just a simple swap. A lot of this stuff they've used, even in the plastic, they've used a fine thread screw. So can simply just reuse the pieces that you got. Just a nice little aluminum block, add a little rigidity in the frame. I can get it to line up. Oh, on reverse still. Just a little torque on that. All the metal on metal stuff you really should use Loctite on. But that's not a drivetrain component, so I'm not too worried about it. More stuff for my stock parts bin. I've started a little bin. I love these little bins for organizing. So now I'm going to have one for all of my CENracing parts. I like to keep my spares organized because you never know where I might find any use for them. And I'll know right away if I have any more of them laying around. Alright, so this fits a little snug. I couldn't get them in without loosening these, but luckily it's just that metal plate on the outside. A little half a turn or a turn. Gets it right in. I'll go ahead and get it lined up before I get started. And boom, we'll just tighten these back up. Now, I need to look at my shock situation. Get my stock kit shocks back out. See how those are going to fit up. I've sorted out my shock situation. I'm going to use these. These are the kit shocks that came with the truck. This was the first generation. I believe this one was the red wheels with the gray body originally, and it had the plastic shocks. The new KG1 series trucks all have the aluminum shocks upgrade. And of course I got one shock on and remembered I forgot to install my drive shaft back in. And yep, still not going to work. Alright, got that sorted out. They did not leave any slack in there for drive shaft. Even though it's a dog bone, it does not move at all. It's kind of a nice and tight setup. So I had another spacer around here. These are RC four-wheel drive RRD shocks. I don't even remember what these were. I think these might have been what came on the C2X to start with. And I just got them sitting around. They look very nice. So they'll match our silver and black theme here. There's my spacer. See, the air rod's already falling off, so it'll be a good thing. I need to make some changes. Truck's been kind of stale. I haven't done much with it, and now that working with CENracing, so we'll get to get some new life into it. Set our tracking on the rear axle and hook up the sway bar, and I'm going to just eyeball that. It looks like it's actually pretty straight right now. Alright guys, nearing the end of this. Move this stuff out of the way. Last piece on this rear axle is the CNC aluminum wheel hex. They are 6mm wide. Two pieces is CKD 0205. These are the actual kind with a little screw. Lock them in place so next time you take your wheel off, your pin doesn't go flying if the if it doesn't stay, the hex stays stuck in the wheel. So we'll get this lined up, and it goes one direction, nice and solid. Alright, we'll do the other side and then we'll move on into tires and wheels. Alright guys, so with the last piece of the puzzle here, I've got another product. So we're going back with the CKD 0610, bullet spiked wheel lug nuts, black. They come in a little box just like the other ones. I'm only going to put a couple on here because I'm probably going to have this apart to do some more of the stuff that we've got coming for it. So yeah, got one side, just got a couple wheel nuts in it. And I'm going to put a couple on this side. Line the splines on here. There we go. And I said not to use the gun for this because you're going into plastic, but just snugging them up. I'll put one on the other side. Alright guys, got the whole back end back together. I'm digging this stuff. I know, I'm all about rust and patina and everything, but this stuff's so high quality, it's cool. It looks fantastic on there. And yeah, then we're going to take this truck in a different direction. I'm going to finish moving the air ride stuff off of it, and we'll pick up in part 2. We'll start working on the front. That way we can get it set and level. And I'm not sure the front axle is going to be a little bit more involved than the rear. We've got universal shafts. I'm leaving the locker out in the front because it's going to be a pavement princess most of the time. But yeah, we've got C-hubs and all kinds of stuff up front, servo horn. So I'm not sure what else we're going to get to in that video, but we'll see how far we get it. We got some other chassis parts. We've got rear trailer hitch. We've got sway bars. We've got, I don't even know what all. I've got so much stuff in this box, it's crazy. But the front axle is going to be a little bit more involved, so that one probably get its own video too. We'll do the 4-link with the front the same. But yeah, say goodbye to the air ride kit. I don't know what it's going to go on. I'm sure we'll dream up something cool for it. I don't think I'll ever take the air ride off of the Honda. I think that I've modified that enough, and that car is just perfect. That was my car from high school, and that's where it's meant to be. But I've been thinking about taking it off of here for a while too, to put on something else. I really want to use it on a rat rod. Gonna be difficult to hide those giant air cylinders on a rat rod, but who knows what the future holds. So appreciate you guys watching. Check out the links below to CENracing if you're looking at any of this stuff. Hopefully this was helpful on how to install it. And I think I should have an affiliates link. You know, help out the channel if you buy it. Just go through the link, whatever parts you're looking at. Any little thing you can do like that helps keep the channel going. And I appreciate y'all watching. Keep it scale, guys. We'll see y'all next time.